Hey guys, it's Official007, and today, as you can see in the video, we are going to be going after BAKU and killing her. So, before we go into this whole entire video, I'd briefly like to thank everyone who has basically been with me and all your support that you've given. Reaching 400 subscribers is a huge achievement in my book. From seeing many channels that have tens and hundreds of subscribers, which I honestly, it's an amazing amount of people that are not recognized out there who do some pretty impressive stuff for the War Thunder community. And my only wish is I see that they get recognized as well. I really enjoy going back through, people that subscribe and all that when I get the notification, just checking out what they've got. And it's really unique to see the entire world that, looks back at you. It's a really big world. So, once again, thanks for everything that you guys do and your support that you give. And hopefully we can keep improving the content and the quality as we go. And hopefully the quantity of stuff, as that's been a long time goal as well with the channel. But, going forward, we are going after BAKU. Now, basically with regards to the carriers in game currently, the modern generation of carriers that we are honestly been looking at, BAKU being the primary right now. BAKU has been probably the most formidable carrier out of the three. Honestly, though, the three carriers that they've introduced all have demonstrated incredible capability, and I really like the idea of the aesthetic and also the capability that they introduced to the game. We've honestly moved forward in age with the new generation of carriers, and honestly, that's really what I've been, at least myself and a lot of others, have been pushing for. Trying to see the various assets in the game modernized with the various vehicles that have been added. Obviously on Spain, all three of the modern carriers that have been introduced to the game, all of them being introduced in New Power, one of the major updates with regards to graphics and a lot of other assets to the game. Carriers were a major cornerstone of that whole endeavor that Gaijin went forward with. The USS Forrestal class, which is off to the left of where our cursor is, and then right on the nose is the infamous BAKU. Back where the on our side of the map, that's where the HMS Ark Royal is. I believe that's correct. It's not very often that I catch the name of the Ark Royal, considering the side that I'm on, but that was also the carrier used in the intro scene. Hopefully you guys liked that. That was something I had a lot of fun editing with. A great nod to Mark Fullen Productions, if no one got the reference, and I will put the link of his channel in the description. If you've never seen him, you got to see his stuff. He does some really incredible historical work with regards to various stories that are untold, and I don't know, there's such a variety of base of things. Some of the most craziest stories and some of the most, fascinating things cleared up in other respects. Definitely give him a chance to show you his stuff if you get the chance. So, I'll go forward again with regards to the challenge. Now, it all started when I basically was playing the G91YS. On this map, I was on the southern side of the map, as you can see right here. I had spawned on this south side. And one of the standard things I always had with regards to the G91YS was I always carried 4 1,000-pound bombs. That was just a convenient load that allowed me to do various things like attack a base or ground attack, get some extra points along the way, and then after I did that mission, I could go on and dogfight with whoever. And that's usually how I made a lot of RP with regards to the G91YS and researching the F104. Just a convenient means of getting research and SL. Well, I happened to be on this map, and on this map I made my run on HMS Ark Royal over here, if you can see the mouse cursor. Right over here. Basically made a run on HMS Ark Royal, the one closest to the south. And in that entire episode, one pass and basically flew on through. I didn't know what I was going to achieve with it, but going back around and heading back to the base, I ended up sinking it. And that really got my attention to how easy it was to sink these carriers. So I took interest in trying to go after the USS Forrestal next. I did that one with the Sukhoi 17 on the preparation for raid on Hokkaido or whatever, the landing on Hokkaido. It was actually a really fun run with the Sukhoi 17 where I had a Crusader trying to chase me the entire time, which being able to achieve that whole race and close the distance and achieve that objective of getting the Forrestal and getting out alive was pretty exciting. It's also really neat to see the ships as they sink. And yeah, largely that's what it is. So the last ship out of the series that I haven't sunk, and keep in mind I've sunk the World War II carriers before, and I'll talk a little bit more in detail about some of the interest in that stuff going on, but like I said, for now we'll focus on BAKU. I have had so many chances going after BAKU. It probably goes up to about 10 matches where I've gone after BAKU. Now, to clarify, people might claim that this is a waste of time. And yes, you are right to a certain extent. Yes, it is a waste of time. There are individuals who will run to BAKU at the end of the match, and that is usually a very supreme air defense asset. If you've never met BAKU, go in and set up a custom match where you actually end up on this map fighting against BAKU, and you'll see the true nature of the air defense. As soon, you'll even see here. BAKU does not give much of a chance to anyone that goes up against her. We'll free camera this. Hopefully we can move in time. You have to forgive the audio of the mouse. Not really much I can do, but that's a thing that's being improved with on the channel. But yep. After all that, we managed to get the BAKU. So, being that I was able to do it on this attempt, was very, very exciting to me. Although I was disappointed that I didn't survive. That was one of my biggest irritations with the whole matter. I would like to strive to survive next time, but the circumstances just prove, unavoidable in this sense. But that's basically what it was. Sinking BAKU, though, was very exciting because so many times I had seen myself, get, bested by BAKU and its air defense network. And the other times, I just wasn't able to kill the ship. It just became a matter of, I didn't have the means to finish off the ship. And I had talked with other people about doing it with multiple people. I'm sure doing it with multiple people would be a ton of fun. But largely that's not what I had at the time. I was just trying to go at it for opportunities. And every time I get the chance to go in Spain, that's an opportunity for me to take a swing at it. And, pulled it off on this one. Going back to the whole people saying, it's a waste of time. You would not believe how many times I've had people literally running the exact same route as I am in fighter aircraft after takeoff and run into a head-on situation with me in the A7. I actually had a match where I ended up downing 3 aircraft that were fighters that kept trying to interfere with my attempt to get BAKU, which I just thought it was insane that, after the first 2 kills, that a third person would try, as determined as I was trying to get the ship. I was not going to, back away from a fight with a fighter, because, I'm obviously not going to last very long if I just, ignore the fighter. But I've cleared plenty of aircraft out, being my main point, trying to do this whole, kill BAKU thing. So, say it's a waste of time. The amount of people I've dealt with along the way, I think has definitely made up for it. Believe me. And yeah, basically there were a lot of things. Like I said, I still want to. So guys, basically this is how we would go forward with the whole utilization of the Mavericks. you can go into your special selection, or you can just use the normal cursor to do the aim. Basically, you would put your cursor, or your scope on the target, and then you initiate the acquisition. Now, you have to look for a specific spot, because if you don't get that specific spot right on the carrier, it's going to say it doesn't recognize the target. And that's ultimately what's going to happen, is it's not going to see the target. You're going to run into the whole issue of, oh, I don't see the target. Definitely another thing that they need to work on is the hit models. But make sure you go into firing parameters when you launch the missile. You can't launch it over 6 kilometers, otherwise you will get smoked. And this is largely why you can't really get that close to BAKU. So yeah. Back to the studio. But it really does come down to the ordnance and how it's placed on the ship. That's the key thing with regards to the new carriers. And I'm glad that they did the carriers the way that they did in a new manner, because modular ships, like the same that is done by, the normal naval forces in the game, is definitely the way forward, I think, with regards to new future naval assets. The various ships that you have, like Bismarck and the various other battleships, like you can see here, having these ships updated in their models, and even the destroyers, all these various ships, seeing their models updating them will give a greater effect to the modular destruction of those assets in a more sensical, type of way. No more of the, oh, you need about 1,000 pounds, just to kill a ship. That's ridiculous. Submerging like ordnance, under certain, positions of a vessel, and having it on a time fused and going off, that's devastating to a ship. That should be modeled in the game, is my opinion. And doing that with the carriers is definitely the right step forward. I think I would like to see it done with the other ships. Seeing the, actual player-driven, assets like those ships, implementing those models and putting them into the game would drastically improve it. Now, I will say that there is a drawback to that whole phenomenon, being that with the change in the the AI models from the static ships that largely that they've been ever since the beginning of War Thunder. It's a heritage thing at this point, but replacing those do run the drawback of an updated AA defense system on all those ships, and that might be something that needs to be looked forward to, and like nerfing what the capability of the AI are in the ship, sense of the way. So yeah, maybe something like what they have with the aircraft, like the attackers going around. They have a sense of defending themselves when they have the right, ordnance, and they can get you when you're careless. Stuff like that, that needs to be talked about with regards to these ships, in my opinion. Going beyond that, I would also like to talk about the air defense systems that are used by these ships. In my opinion, I think the other carriers need to be given more air defense assets. Being that only BAKU has an air defense system on its ship is kind of, I don't know, so lopsided in providing teams, Sure, no one really relies on the carriers that much, but to provide those assets with a sense of air defense, I think is a very good thing. And in my opinion, I think it's the way forward. So I'll leave it my point on that respect. And like I said, I can show you guys what the whole launching the Maverick looks like. We'll probably do like a little edited scene going into it, and then, we'll return right back to this. And basically, that's how it's all done. Lessons from the challenge. I personally think improving the anti-ship weapons is also another thing that needs to be looked into. And really, that would extend the whole premises of the game. Also, another thing I would like to mention is the idea of a CWIS system. The close-in, weapon system that basically defends, I guess I'm saying basically, but the close-in weapon system and its ability to defend the ship, not only from, various aircraft, but also the ordnance that's being delivered. Seeing the 30mm turrets being able to counterfire the Mavericks and try and shoot them down out of the sky would be a really neat thing to see, and eventually it would be a great asset to demonstrate in the game for protecting ships later on, such as like an advanced class of the Iowa class battleship. That's the sort of thing that we would really like to see in the future. Obviously, naval has a long ways to go before that, not only in the sense of balance, but in the technology sense. That would be more the core of that point. But yeah, that's basically all I had. Like I said, very, very grateful for the support you guys have given. If you guys want to see more stuff like this, yeah, definitely throw your suggestions down below and all that. I know we've been dabbling in many various things, like topics of any sort, or talking about specific vehicles. Hearing your guys' recommendations really would help figure out what the direction should be in certain respects. Not to say that I don't have material. Giving me a general direction would be helpful. That just provides me more assets to look at jumping on and going forth with. People like the maneuvers early on in the channel's history with regards to the Cobra maneuver. I think as a 500 subscriber, say maybe a special video and do something like the Phantom Tumble. If you guys are interested in that, definitely. And yeah, we'll go from there. We'll see what we get, but I'll leave it at that. Once again, thanks for everything you guys do, all the support you guys give, and I'll see you guys later.